Wine Wednesday. Happy Wine Wednesday.
Happy
How's
Wine
it going?
Wednesday, Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, all of you Canadian wine enthusiasts from across the country. Welcome. It's the happy hour. This is Wine Wednesday. Thanks for joining in, for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. I'm getting blind taste today. I sure did. I'm getting blind
Got
taste
it.
today.
So I had decided to go through our cellar, which, by the way, Carl, we are running low on a lot of the wines we like. I don't know where they've gone to.
Okay.
The holidays sometimes does that. But what I did is I was looking for something very specific. I wanted to see if I can find two very similar wines, like similar or same varietal, similar vintage from across the country. One from BC, one from Ontario. And I have blind tasted Carl. So he's got two glasses there that he doesn't know what they are.
I have no clue. Absolutely no clue what they are.
I
The
want to
only
know
thing,
what he guesses.
yeah, but there's a few things that I know. I know what's in the cellar. I know
Mhm.
what I have. I know what I don't have. I know what I have from where. So this is in my database right now, right? So this, I know that I have two white wine, and I know this is Riesling. That I know for a fact.
So good.
I know as much as it's Riesling as I know that it's white wine. Like that can't. There's no mistake here. No mistake. I know it's Riesling. Um, very specific smell, very specific aromas. So there's some great varietals that you absolutely can't miss, right? I think it's the same thing when I smell Sauvignon Blanc. Like SB
Mhm.
to me
That
has that
grassy.
pun. Yeah, exactly, right? That pungent, grassy grapefruit, like absolutely. And this here, this is that zippy lemon, ginger, like the minerality like just absolutely explode out of the glass. So I know that is Riesling. So if it's you said there was two, because this one, the other one, number two, is not as obvious. It's really muted, like really, really, really shy on the nose. So now, and it's to me in my heart, my art of blind tasting, that's it's always like I always use deduction, right? I always go by elimination. That's that what's obvious and what's very not obvious, like obviously not. So I eliminate like on both sides, like I just like watch stuff, and I end up at the end with a few possibility, and I try to rationalize that way. So we're gonna do some blind tasting. That's a little bit. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna do that right out of the gate. Let's start welcoming everyone from across the country. All of our members, Quebec, Ontario, across the prairies, BC, all over the place. Welcome. We're gonna chat about the Canadian Wine Challenge today. About what it is. What's the Canadian Wine Challenge? What the heck are we what are we doing here, right? What the heck is the plan with Carl's Wine Club here? What the heck that Mira and Carl have been planning in the last couple months? And we're gonna answer your questions. We're gonna explain a little bit more, and we're also gonna dig a little deeper into the memberships, the two paid tiers membership, the VIP Plus, the VIP Unlimited, another 4 or 5 unlimited VIP sign up today. This is so freaking exciting. We're seeing like so many people are jumping on the train, on the Canadian wine train. And that's what it's about. That's what the Canadian Wine Challenge is all about. It's to challenge you, to challenge every wine drinker out there to drink more Canadian wines. And what do we want to do about it? We want to create content. We want to give more information because we don't want to educate people, right, Mira? That's not what we're all about. We're not the WSEP. We're not wine instructor.
Well, you could be, Carl, because you've been doing this for over 25 years and probably one of the most talented wine educators in the country. But
I don't want
uh,
to. I sure
we
don't want
we've
to.
often talked about this. Like wine learning about wine should be very experiential and very fun. And as soon as you say it's a course, to me, that's not that fun. Like, I don't know. So I like to see it as learning through experience, learning through stories, and that's what we want to
Learning
get
through
more of,
connections, I think.
connection. Yes.
Yeah, and so that's what the Canadian Wine Challenge is going to be out about. It's just to give more, to produce more content for all of our wine lovers across the country. And I think there's so much to be unfold. There's so much who has not been covered. There's so much uh, great thing out there, but there's big holes. Like, I mean, like there's some uh publication out there. There's some very experienced journalists and taster, and like we can name them like a lot. Like the Wine Line are doing so many great things out there. Like people like Anthony Gismondi and John Schreiner, and there's so many out there. So Natalie McLean, like name it. You connect with these people, or you don't. You like, you don't like, but you get some information from all over the place. What's different with us? What we do? We build connection, we build community, and we want to do it all together, right? And make it fun. So that's what we're doing, and this is the Canadian
Totally.
Wine Challenge.
And we're also only about Canadian wine. So Carl, for 25 years, was at the top of the game in the wine industry in international wine. He was literally flying $30,000 bottles of wine across the country in private jets and sourcing Sassicaillas and doing some amazing, amazing wine stuff with international wines. And it took the pandemic for us to really connect and realize it'd be fun to taste these wines together, wouldn't it be, Carl?
That's it,
And
right?
wait a second, we're actually making some really good wines here in Canada that we completely overlooked for decades while you were tasting all these amazing international wines.
And you
So,
know, and I think there's a few turning points you're bringing so many great points here, Mira. And but there was like couple very focused, very precise turning point in my career where I was thinking of focusing more on Canadian wine because of my stint as a wine consultant with WestJet, right? I remember the conversation that I had with Greg Soretsky, the former CEO at WestJet, saying, "Carl, you need to focus on Canadian wines. We're a Canadian-based airline. I want to see some Canadian wines in there." And I'm just like, what? Like really? What did I sign up for? And
he was
more,
rolling his
I was
eyes. He's like, really? Canadian wine? I don't know about that.
But that's it, right? First, how am I going to find product at the right price point here? How am I going to find enough product to fill the galley in 900 airplanes a day? How am I going to do that? And is it the juice is going to be good enough and all of that? And you know what? Like, that's how it started to change for me. And after I met George and his son at Grey Monk, George was still alive back then. And we started to talk, and I started to taste, and we started to talk with the people at Volcanic Hills as well. And we started to talk with the people at Arterra and Peller, but also at Geringer Brother and all of that. And after that, well, you go for one visit and you're talking, and after that, you stop at one place next to the other and another place next to the other and meeting with the peoples of Black Hills. And at some point, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a freaking minute. These wines are great. These wines are not just good. These wines are great. And you keep digging and digging and talking to our people. And at some point, and when you realize that we have people like Thomas Batchelder, when we have people like Ross Wise, like these guys are like world-class winemaker. These guys are working with absolutely top-notch grapes and making some absolutely top-notch wine. So like, well, wait a minute. Why would I spend another decades or two working with international wines when we have all of that potential in our country? But where it really struck me, it's when I started to understand more about the diversity. When I started to understand more like the Niagara Peninsula versus Niagara on the Lake and Prince Edward County, and tasting wines like from Carlo or Clausen Cheese and the Batchelors, and like seeing all of that terroir driven and the outstanding juice that and now after that there's the Similkameen and the Okanagan North and South and Central Okanagan, all of that. Like there's just so many, like, there is so much diversity that I'm like, whoa, I can spend the next 25 years, the back nine of my career, after playing the front nine on international wine. I really want to be at the forefront of our people, and then one point Mira and we had a conversation with some people back east, and someone say, do you know that we're the only country in the we're the only wine producing country to import more wine that we produce? And we're like, what are you talking about?
It's partly because we don't make a ton of wine. Like if you look at the amount of wine that's produced in the world, we make like 0.1% or something or less. So I guess even if we wanted, we couldn't supply Canada with all the wine we want to drink. But we lost you there, Carl, for a second. But what that tells me is we have the opportunity to create incredibly good wines by supporting the wineries we do have and making sure that those that are doing an amazing job, that they sell out of those wines instantly. That's my vision for the Canadian wine industry. There's small enough supply that we as wine lovers, when we find a good one, that winery should not have to worry about how they're going to sell it or market it. They should just worry about making it even better next year.
Is there something happened, Mira, with your volume? Like I kind of like went like I can barely hear you anymore. Just seeing if maybe
hear you just fine. I lost you for a second though, so you might be having some trouble. Anyways, tell me. Oh, lost you there again. I am blind tasting Carl for those of you that are just stopping by, and I have poured him. Don't tell him. Well, you can tell him this part. Some Ontario wine and some BC wine. He's already guessed that it's Riesling because I guess Riesling has a pretty, recognizable aromas. Bit of that petroleum gas station-y kind of deliciousness. So
the second time was totally my Butterfinger, by the way. That was me just like clicking the wrong freaking place on the screen. I would love to blame the technology and said like something cut off, but no, that was totally me. So yeah, and
hey Bob, nice to see you. One of our neighbors from Peachland, out here in the Okanagan. Nice to see you guys.
Hey Bob,
if you're tuning in, leave a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you got some wine open tonight, let us know what's in your glass. And
what's in your glass tonight? And also, I would like to know, what did you open for New Year's Eve? What special bottles did you open for New Year's Eve? If you follow our social media, you probably you have seen the lineup of our 3 wines that we had open for Christmas Eve, our day of cooking and our day of prep for our wine exchange.
Yes, so I actually got a picture of what we had open. They were delicious, all 3. So we had the 13th Street Premier Cuvée Bubbly.
We sure did. And then we also had the Silva Chardonnay, the new 2021 vintage, and the Mouchadre 2017 Syrah from Lake Erie North Shore in Ontario. So that was our lineup. So let us know what you had open. Yeah. I've heard that some of our members had pretty cool stuff open. I think that Daryl had some Westcott open, the Westcott Brilliance Sparkling. I know that Vicky had some Black Market open. And so membership across the country had some pretty cool wines open. So yeah. And Mira, how do we want to do this blind tasting? But
Well,
anything, or do we want to talk a little bit more about the challenge, or do you want me to go to start nailing down a little bit my thought process here?
well, let's talk for a minute about the challenge, because what we did these last couple of weeks is we launched the Canadian Wine Challenge. All right, you might have seen this flying around the social medias, and many of you have already signed up to be upgraded members, because we are doing an intro special thing, which is you can spin to win your upgraded membership for the year. We'll be live again the next couple nights talking in a little more detail about some of the benefits of doing this. But
So
basically,
we're
just
going
like
on a
Amazon,
stretch of 3 nights, right? 3 nights in a row. We're going to be live tonight, tomorrow,
live, live,
and
live.
Friday. Correct? You're giving
Yes.
me
Yes.
you're giving me Saturday night off, and Sunday
Mm-hmm.
we're back with our top 10 wine of the year. Correct? That's the
That's
schedule,
right.
right?
That's right.
So the
And
next three
then,
nights,
yeah,
yep.
and then Carl skips off to the Caribbean, and I might be out in touch with you guys about a fun new version of Wine Wednesday next Wednesday without Carl while he is in the Caribbean.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be in the Caribbean.
But
I will
listen,
be like up in the air. I'll be up in the air next Wednesday, right? So,
yes,
and come on,
yes.
let's tell everyone that I'm not gonna do. I'm not going there like for leisure. Like it's not like if I'm just like leaving my family to the discomfort of the Okanagan to go cruise in the Caribbean, right? Like there's a big
Yes,
reason
that's right.
behind it.
It's a tough gig. He has to do some consulting out there. Uh,
When some
so,
people need help, they hire a consultant. And consultant go where the client needs them, right? And it's
mhm.
just happened that the client needs me in the Caribbean.
And next time just happens that you'll probably take me too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, hey,
Absolutely.
you know what? Let's spend a few minutes just answering a few of the most frequently asked questions we've had this last week.
Good
So,
point.
first of all,
Good point.
what is this Canadian Wine Challenge? Because um, we've had just members asking us, is this like all of Carl's Wine Club is changing? What's happening? And the answer is no, but there's some exciting new things. So, we're doing the same thing we've done in the sense that if you are already a member, you're already a VIP, you can stay on as a member, as a VIP for life. It's free to do that, and you will still receive our emails and our content that we're creating about discovering new Canadian wineries, Carl's awesome tasting notes, scores, all that kind of stuff. What we're doing is this next year, we're making a concerted effort to challenge Canadians to discover and enjoy more Canadian wine. And we're speaking to the choir. I know you guys are watching this because you're already on board with Canadian wine. You already think it's amazing. But we want to get more of our friends involved. We want to get more people who have collections of incredible international wines and not one Canadian wine. We want to change that.
That's
And so, how are we going to do that? We're going to go on tour, like literally and virtually. We're going to be traveling around and evangelizing about Canadian wine, and we want to share that with you and help you experience the amazing things and stories we get to find out about.
exactly. And I think it's by expanding a little bit, going out of the regular trail, going out of the regular narrative about the Canadian wine, just bringing you guys with us into different conversation with different owner winemakers from different regions, comparing regions from one to another. Not about who's better, what's doing some. No, it's not about exposing and uplifting the quality of each and every single wine regions. And we have so many of them. There's so many sub-regions that are worth talking about and creating content about that. So that's what it's all about. And by being a little bit more focused, pinpoint, and offering more, I would say, details, more fun fact, more serious fact, more connection with the locals, producer of these specific region. I think that's how we can bring people to be intrigued and to be interested in trying something new. Let's say from Lake Erie North Shore, from Nova Scotia, from Prince Edward County, the Similkameen. Yeah, you may have heard different things from these different regions, but by expanding, digging deeper, bringing the voice of these regions to you, I think that's how we're going to stimulate all the Canadians to jump on the wagon that we are on. Like the train is going on across the country, and we want to create that phenomenon that people are talking more about Canadian wines. And yeah, Carl's Wine Club, right? Carl's Wine Club still doing the same thing, but the Canadian Wine Challenge, I would say, is kind of a branch of an extension of Carl's Wine Club, working in synergy and in symbiosis with what Carl's Wine Club is doing. Am I just like completely off the rail here, or?
No, that makes sense. Daryl, welcome to your, I saw that earlier, VIP Unlimited Pass for the next year. And he's saying intersection. What do we want? Intersection. And that's exciting because you know what? I think coming up, there are some opportunities for intersection. I'm not completely sure, but our top 10 wines of the year will be announced Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm not sure if they're in there or in an honorable mention, but I know they're way up there. The Axiom 16, I think, was the one that was.
Come on, stop tipping here.
Well, I just remember when you tasted it, you said, wow, this is right up there for candidates. So
it's still right up there. It's still right up there. Yes, the Axiom is absolutely right up there. Let's say, okay, let's put it that way. On Sunday, we're going to talk about 18 different wines. This is in 3 categories. There's 5 honorable mention. That's 10 to 1. This is 15 plus 3 of the best value wines. So this is 18 wines that we have selected this year to talk about. Obviously, the top 10 is only 10 wines, but there's so much more to talk about. That's why I wanted to put, like we did last year, 5 honorable mention in that, because they're, like I would say, from number 6 all the way to number 15. So 10 to 15, the honorable mention. These are so close. The line is just such a thin line between all of these wines, and they all have a little like reason why they made it there. Like, you know, there's the Mira selection in there. There is a uniqueness of something as well. Yeah. But yes. Oh, Daryl is saying the Axiom 15 was damn fine. Absolutely. The 15 was number 7 on my 2020 top 10 wine of the year. And what the heck is that? Is it a code or what? Is it your genetic? Is it your genetic sequence, Daryl?
Yeah, I have to say too, this little guy joined our family over Christmas. His name is, what's his name, Carl? Beanie Boucher. Beanie Chili Boucher. Anyway, the reason I was distracted a second ago is because Beanie has escaped. The kids are trying to find him. So that's the newest adventure in the Boucher household.
And we also promised the kid that we're going to talk about Beanie in our next wine show. I don't know why they wanted us to talk about
wine. I mean, yeah, it's the thing. It's the hamster.
Yeah. But yes, the 2015. Let's get back to the Axiom. 2015 was a darn fan. Absolutely, it was damn fine wine. But I think, Daryl, that 16 is as good. Like it's such a close line. It's just a fine line between the 15 and the 16. The 16 followed right in his footstep, and maybe not been to my top 10, but definitely in the honorable mention. There's a wine that's going to be talked about on Sunday. That's for sure. And there's many other wines, and I'm so happy that this year.
Oh, 26 honorable mentions, yeah.
That's the call. You go. 1080.
Yeah, like number 10. A10. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
I
true.
get it. Thank
Very
you,
hard to narrow
Daryl.
it down. And when it boils down to it, it's not super scientific. It is Carl's cross section of the best this last year that he's tasted, and a bit of my influence in there. And it's just interesting to see that. I mean, I think everyone should do a top 10 in their journal or something like that, just to reflect on what's been great and, you know, the memorable wines. A simple way to
Absolutely.
do it, by the way, is like behind Carl. We've started to collect the bottles of the really memorable ones.
Yeah,
Gonna soon run
exactly.
out of
And 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 like what we mentioned, right? Like we tasted just over 1,000 wine this year. Like let's put it that way. If you break it down by 12 months, okay, it's just around what? There's like 100, 2012, like 15, 25. Yeah. Anyway, so we've been tasting around 25 new wines a week, plus minus. So if you do the math, 25, like we're getting right up there at 1,200. So that's the amount of wine we've tasted this year. If you take just like Chardonnay Day, World Chardonnay Day, we tasted 50 in 1 week. So we had a large database of tasting on score, and yeah, that's a reflection of what we've done this year. So it's pretty exciting, pretty darn exciting.
pretty fun.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
So,
so we went away from what we were talking about. Sorry, keep doing.
well, just a couple of the frequently asked questions. All right. So, some people have asked, what are these new membership levels? Okay. And what they are us saying, okay, we see some pain points for our members and we want to solve them, basically. And we know that we can create some really cool experiences and really great things for the people that are interested in that. So, one of the big sticking points for members has been shipping. And we're actually going to do a whole live tomorrow night just on shipping. There's a lot of interesting things about shipping wine in Canada. We're one of the biggest countries in the world, right? So it's always going to be a challenge. So one of the things you can do is if you upgrade your membership, you can get shipping credits. So sometimes wineries will charge us very little for shipping because they have a budget to be able to do that. Other wineries don't. So they're charging full price for shipping or close to it, which sometimes can be like 50 or 60 bucks to ship 6 bottles. And it becomes really a turnoff. You don't want to order wine with those kinds of shipping rates, right?
If you get charged $60 for shipping, like the winery are charged to ship
Many of
cross
the times.
country, $60 for 6 bottles. It's 10 darn dollars for 1 bottle of wine for shipping only. You know, and well, we're going to expand on that tomorrow. But like we won't see or very rarely see free shipping again. It's this. This is like the reality of the market now, the reality of what's happening out there. It's just too expensive. Once in a while, you see the big house, like the Pellers, the Artera, or the bigger producer will chip in much more than the small mom and pop shop to subsidize the shipping. But one of our pride is to showcase moms and like the small family-owned wineries. It's becoming a huge challenge. So that's why by what we're doing, it's one of the biggest reason why we are moving towards that VIP plus, VIP unlimited, is to bring something to the members to say, hey, we're listening and we know that it's important, but the reality of the market is dragging us towards a completely different reality.
So, yeah, we'll talk more about it tomorrow. It's an interesting subject. But what you can do, what we figured is, Amazon Prime lost billions and billions of dollars doing free shipping the first years that
hopefully we're not going to lose billions and billions in the next year, Mira.
We can't do that. But what we can do is we can pull together our members who are interested in a break on shipping. We can offer these membership levels at $79 or $159 for the year, where you get, for $79, you get 3 free shipping credits and a whole bunch of other awesome benefits. And for $159, it's the unlimited shipping benefits for any packs you order 6 bottles or more from one particular winery. So, we're going to feature, last year we featured over 40, 45 wineries throughout the year. Just on Monday, we're going to have the top 10 wines announced with the honorable mentions. And any wineries that still have those wines available will make those available to us. So if you have one of these memberships, you can go ahead and order even when a winery is saying, no, sorry, we can't discount your shipping. It's $45. Well, guess what? If you have a membership, it's going to be free for you. So it's just a way to give you some predictability and help you get some of these wines that otherwise you might say, I want to try it, but for that amount of shipping, I don't. So that's what the membership levels are. There's other benefits too. The VIP Unlimited, it gets you concierge wine touring consultation. We'll talk about that more on Friday. So when you go wine touring, there's no one that knows these wineries better than we do, I think, having tasted so many hundreds and hundreds of wines. So it's not enough that we'll sort of listen to your tastes and give you concierge recommendations, but we've also tasted many of the wines, so we can say, when you go there, make sure you try that. You'll get access to a 60-minute cellar management consult with Carl, who has managed multi-million-dollar cellars, and he's a wine appraiser, so he's got lots of great intel there.
And it's also about strategy, right? Which kind of strategy? What are you looking for if you want to start? And collecting sometimes can be such a word, like it can be a turn off, or it's also can be used in a very different ways. But if you build a little something, if you want to build it with purpose, and what is the purpose that you're buying your little wine inventory or your wine collection? So there's different strategy to use with and the intent of all of your purchases. So so there's some consultation available with that as well. What else?
If we go back to the wine touring with the VIP Unlimited, we're including one complimentary in-person tasting at one of our partner wineries. So similar to the shipping, a lot of members are complaining, now wineries that used to have free tastings, if you go there, you could taste a few of their wines for free. Now there's a charge, $10, $15, $20 a person, which if you're in a group of 4, it can add up, right? So we're including one complimentary tasting for up to 4 people when you go wine touring. And a lot of other 25%? Stuff. Yeah, 25% off our special events, whether in person or virtual. We just had an awesome one for New Year's Eve, the bottle exchange. We'll be announcing more events coming up.
Canada versus the world in person here in the Okanagan.
Yeah, so you can taste for yourself, blind taste.
Yeah. Also, now the Canadian wine tour, right? We're going to go on a tour, different cities, in person celebrations with members. So we're going to announce some dates, some months, and some team very soon.
Exactly. And then we're also doing the virtual monthly events that we haven't done in a long time with VIPs. So these will be Zoom only, not recorded kind of things where you can interact, and we're going to pick a theme, bring in special guests, and explore that theme. So it might be, a specific wine region. It might be a specific topic about Canadian wine, and we'll go in depth and have a ton of fun on Zoom for an hour or 2 every month. So those are just some of the benefits. A big one that we haven't mentioned at all, which I've been pulling my hair out over the last few days, but is nearly complete and is amazing, is the searchable Carl's Wine Club tasting notes archive. These are all the tasting notes that Carl has done through the features. Going forward, it'll be even more complete because we'll be putting those in. Even if we don't feature a winery, we'll put those in. And so you can search through those. If you've got some of these wines in your cellar and you've lost the tasting notes, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, they'll be there available to look up. So yeah, lots of amazing and fun benefits. That's the unlimited membership. If you want sort of a lighter version, there's the $79 where you get a lot of the same benefits, but only 3 free shipping credits. And then there's also our VIP tier. With any purchase in Carl's Wine Club, you get access to limited releases, special edition wines that are not open to the public, And of course, our winery features every 1 to 2 weeks. So lots of fun. Oh my gosh, so many cool things that can happen this next year. And we so appreciate that you are joining us on this amazing journey.
Also, what I want to mention too, there's going to be some, I think you maybe just have touched about it. It's the very exclusive wines in very, very small batch. Like we're talking like 60 bottles of something, they maybe like some top collectible, who are going to maybe come up for grab, but these are going to be available only for the unlimited and the plus VIPs. So yeah, so some new perks and some really exciting times for
And
our Canadian wine industry.
The big thing to say is these are a steal of a deal as they are in terms of how they're priced. Over time, we'll parcel them out. The archive will be something you can get on its own, and when you add everything up, you're getting a lot more value than what's there being charged for. But this week till Friday at midnight, you can spin to win. And there's members.
I know, that's killing me. That's absolutely killing me. Oh my God.
There's members winning their membership for the year, or winning like $25 off or $50 off. So with that, it's an even more crazy, amazing deal there. So yeah, highly recommend. If you're curious about that, go check it out before Friday at midnight and spin to win. So now, Carl, this wine that you said was a little muted on the nose, it's really opening up.
It does. And this is really unexpected on the palate because there's that crazy minerality. And that's like lemon peel who grabs you. On the nose, it feels like a really like lighter body. And like on the palate, there's that like it's restrained and it's just hung there. Like it's just really hanging there. And it's really like, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna go to the next one, okay?
So the first one.
Just seeing that.
So the first
I'm not sure which one was.
Oh, well, hold it up to the glass, to the light.
Which one is the golden one? Like this is the more golden, like the thicker one.
The thicker one is number one. If you hold the glass
up, perfect.
You
it's the more expressive.
Yeah. Yes, the more expressive one is number one. And the other one is number two.
Okay. So right out of the gate, number two has much more of an Ontario profile. Much more. It's a little bit more aggressive. It's a little bit more snappier. There's a little bit of the cave spring that I know about. It's not completely Swan staff in terms of texture, but it's a little bit more grippier. It's something more aggressive. There's a lighter in texture, but very defined in terms of flavors. Number one, I mean, it's richer, it's thicker, it's a little bit more suave, a little bit more oily, a little bit more Alsatian style. I guess that's Okanagan style, a little bit warmer. But I suspect because there's a great deal of minerality into number one. So, and there's something very luxurious in number one as well. So I am, I need to dig a little deeper. I need to take a little bit more time to go right into the middle. But out of the gate, I think to me, it's a fairly clear cut. And I hope that I'm not putting my foot in my mouth here. I can look like an idiot right in front of our audience here, and I completely out of whack. And you guys, this is bragging right here, okay? If I look like an idiot, you guys can poke me, and I know that Daryl's like, Please do. There's a bunch of people listening right now where
All
I
right.
give you the right.
So it's
But
not your
okay.
final guess yet, but your guess so far is that number 2, which was the more restrained on the nose, which opened up and now feels very luxurious and mineral. Your guess is
Not
that's more
luxurious. The number one feel much more luxurious on the palate.
luxurious.
Number
Okay.
two, yeah. So, and I
Okay.
said number two, it's Ontario. Number one is Okanagan. Okay,
Okay,
that's
because
my
you were saying
first.
number 1 feels more like a warmer,
Yeah, exactly. It's a
more
little oil, a little bit
strength.
oilier, a little bit more fat, a little bit more. There's more texture into it, but there's not the same precision. There's not the same energy in there. There's a very obvious difference in style, but it leads me number one to the Okanagan, number two to Ontario. I want to take a few more minutes to dig into each because I would like to
Yeah.
be a little bit more precise to it. But
I won't tell you if you're right or wrong yet, but let's answer Daryl's question. Is there any Chardonnays in the top 10? He's asking
oh
for friends.
man, Daryl, I had to stop myself. Okay, it's my top 10, but I had to be a little bit diversified. Yes, there is. There's two
They'd be all
in the top.
Chardonnays.
Yeah, it could have been all Chardonnays. Let's put it that way, Daryl. Okay, there's two in the top 5 and two in the honorable mention. Okay, I can't help myself, but it's also all of the highest rated wine that I've tasted this year. I tasted much more Chardonnay than any other grapes available out there. So I may have tasted double the Chardonnay that I've tasted of the second most tasted grape varietal. So in terms of possibility, in terms of probability, yes, the probability are much higher to have more Chardonnay in the selection because I tasted a shitload of Chardonnay. And I could have put many more, but I had to at some point be a little bit more diverse. But yes, there is. There's one, and especially that no one I've heard. Well, we haven't featured this year anyway. So yeah, tune in on Sunday.
Yes. Yes, because if we remember last year, was it last year that was Pearl Maurice was number 1, right? And that was your 98-point wine. It was a Chardonnay. We still talk about that Chardonnay. Oh my gosh, it
We
was
still
good.
taste this Chardonnay like once every time we have a special occasion.
Yes, it's very, very special. It's one of those that I'm just so sad we didn't buy more cases of it because I wish I just had like an endless supply, but it will end one day because that's the nature of small lot amazing wines, right? Yeah. So do you want to tell us more a little bit about what you've got?
I just read one of our.
Two?
I don't know that there's no name there, but our one of our persons said that the Okanagan talk about the Okanagan in the glass. Bang on. You mentioned that, and I get that orchard. Like in number 1, there's more. It's peachy on the nose. There's the more that orchard on the nose that I really attribute to the Okanagan as well. So yeah. No, I really tried to. I will confirm my my guess. Number 1, Okanagan. Number 2, Ontario.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, your analysis is very, very interesting too. So I'm glad I had the chance to hear that. When we first blind tasted me, I think I was a year into drinking wine of any sort. I knew nothing, and I couldn't even tell that the wine you gave me was a Sauv Blanc. And now, after having done so many varietal days where we taste dozens of the same grape, the same wine together, at least I can tell them apart based on varietal. But I was always amazed in your international wine days, Carl, where you could pick up a glass and be like, oh, yes, slightly oaked, probably from Saint-Emilion. And I'd be like, I have no idea. I think it's a red wine. That's what I would know.
So number 2 is it's a leaner style. It's fairly lean.
Mhm.
It's not a big Riesling. And now, with that said, it takes me out of a few regions of sub-region of Ontario, and because this is not the Beamsville bench, this is not that super rich and extracted style. Um, this is not a premium wine. This is not an expensive Riesling, I would say. Uh,
And what is
I'm
an
leaning.
expensive Riesling? I mean, because we have had like $50, $60 Rieslings. So,
Yeah. Oh, no, no, no. This is to me like it's something like $20, $25 Riesling.
mhm, mhm. Okay.
I would say probably maybe 25 at the most.
Mhm.
But very well made, very defined, very precise for that price. So that's what, and that, yeah. And because I know exactly what I have here, and I know, and I can even call which wine it is.
Oh,
So I will wait until a little later. But because I know I've tasted the previous vintage of that, it was one of the lightest style of Riesling that I've tasted, and it completely reminded me that very specific wine. So so yeah, low alcohol. I don't know. Someone just commented here, alcohol and too sweet. This is a dry. This is bone dry. Number two is bone dry, low alcohol. So I would say probably like I'm guessing something like under 11 for sure, maybe under 10% alcohol, less than 4 grams of residual sugar. This is full on acidity. So yeah, that's for number two. Number one, richer, bolder, peachy, but the petroleum in on the nose. This is more geeky. There are so much to dig into. This wine can I can spend an hour, like no, 2 days smelling that because there's so much going on. There's more residual sugar on that one. There's a little bit higher, a little bit higher RS, and we might see something like 20 maybe. But there's bright
this is on
acid and
which one?
loads of
On
one.
number one? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
number one. But for what I'm thinking, again, I can be completely out, like in the left field, and I would look like a fucking moron if I'm complete if I'm not
Well,
on
so
pace
far
of
you're
what
pretty
I'm
good.
thinking.
You're pretty good. I have to tell
And
you.
but I have a much more expensive wine in number one. I would say maybe double the price, at least double the price. Uh, like higher in terms of RS, I might go over 20, but
Okay.
amazing texture. The acid doesn't make it sweet, but there's much more residual sugar in there. Yeah, a little sweetness in the back end. A canned peach, uh, that peach syrup in the peach in the can. I got that on the back end. There's honey. There's that pineapple, that grilled pineapple, a nice ginger in the middle, and it's a little flinty as well to bring some a little bit more grip. And that takes me right to Okanagan Falls. Okay,
Number
so
one.
number one, it
It
leads me
reminds you
straight to.
of that winery, doesn't it? In OK
Absolutely.
Falls.
That takes me to listen. I know I had one bottle of I know I have one bottle of Synchromesh in the cellar, and this is not the bottle of Synchromesh. I will shit my pants. Okay, that's my call. I'm sure because I clearly
This is
remember
a
a
very
Riesling day.
interesting blind tasting. Okay.
Okay, so this
I'm
is
dying.
Synchromesh to me, and here I will tell you because I knew exactly where that bottle was, and this is the second vintage of Mouchadre Riesling that I'm tasting. I remember clearly how light the first one was, and this
Keep
is
going. true.
And this is Musha Grade, the new vintage that we got. There's more restraint, a little bit more precision than the other, more body, not body more in texture, but more concentration in flavors. I'm a much bigger fan of that one. But if it's what I'm thinking, this is Musha Grade 2021 Riesling. And this is 2020 single vineyard, single block Synchromesh 2020.
So you are so close. You're so precise on your descriptions, Carl. You're very precise on your descriptions. On your wine regions, and you went as far as to name the actual wine because you thought you knew what we have in our cellar, but clearly you don't. On those, you are not correct. So let me tell you. Can I tell you?
Yes, please.
So for number one, okay, you were bang on in your description. Higher RS, you were saying maybe around 20. I looked that up. It's probably bang on. You were saying a luxurious feel, a beautiful nose. It reminds you of Synchromesh, but it's not Synchromesh. But that's the kind of stuff you were saying. So you were guessing something South Okanagan. And this is actually Niagara.
What?
Yes.
Are you kidding
but
me?
This is what the interesting point here, Carl Boucher, is that this is what makes Canada so unique, is that you cannot say just because it's warmer, feels like from a warmer place, just because it comes from, it's bursting out of the glass. You can't actually, like a lot of wine regions, you can pin down the region based on things like that, because all the Rieslings from Alsace have a certain style, right? All the Rieslings from another area have a certain, they're more cooler climate, they're more warmer climate, they're more RS or less RS. But in Canada, that's the interesting thing, is you get these microclimates all over the freaking country from Nova Scotia to Vancouver Island. And it's so hard sometimes to know the region. But your descriptions of the wines were bang on. So yeah, this is not. And do you know how much this wine is? You thought this was the most expensive of the two. It's 18.
I thought that number one was much more expensive than number two.
Yeah, and number one is 18, including tax.
Oh,
do you want to take another guess? Do you want to take another guess? Because usually you're bang on with your prices, right? And you were with number two. So number two, you said it's around $25. It's 24. All right. But number one,
I'm retiring.
It's so complex and it's amazing. And this is one of those wineries that we keep saying, like, holy cow, don't tell the winemaker, but there's so much value packed in these wines. Smackdown. See, Alain and Johanna watching. Alain thought number one was Niagara too.
Man, I'm so freaking down right now. I am so freaking down right now. Oh my God.
Well, I'm telling you, you were bang on your descriptions. This one is the one with more RS. It's the one that's probably from a warmer vintage.
But fuck, that's not rocket science. It's just pretty simple tasting, right?
But you know what? Synchromesh and this wine are so freaking similar. They are. Synchromesh, the only thing about it is just maybe more complexity. But yeah.
Yeah, so what do we have in here?
So this is Love by Lou by Sue and Staff.
Are you kidding me?
No, I am not. And so you had Love by Lou by Sue and Staff. And then the other one, number two.
That's the ESV Riesling, eh?
From Lunescence, which is in Summerland, which is where we live in the Okanagan.
And I call Ontario.
Yeah, but you called Musha Dre, which is Lake Erie North Shore, which my guess is very similar Riesling-wise to Summerland.
Yeah, no, not at
especially
all.
if you look at the vintages. Okay, so this one with lunescence was the 2021. All right, so warm vintage, but Summerland is on the side of a lake that it doesn't get as much afternoon sun. So I'm not sure where these grapes specifically are from, but and then
These are from the estate. This is the ESV. This is the estate series.
Okay, so
Hundred
it is.
percent. 100% is from the Ah man, I'm retiring.
You're
I'm
retiring.
retiring.
Well, what this tells me, Carl, is that Sue-Ann Staff's Riesling, she truly is the Riesling queen of Canada. Like, we knew that, but this just confirms it 10 times. So when we were at the winery, Mike, I think you were there.
Oh yeah, absolutely it was. Like we had the tasting with 24. We tasted the 2014, the 2008, the 14, the 17. Like we had
The
like
Riesling.
all the Roberts block, right? We tasted the
Yeah.
vertical of Roberts block.
Yeah, yeah. And this Love by Lou is kind of like the baby sister to Robert's block, I guess, right?
Exactly. That's the homage of her grandma. So grilled cheese sandwich. Yeah, that was the grilled cheese day.
Oh,
You're right,
my
Mike.
gosh. So Riesling and grilled cheese, the way Sue-Ann Staff makes her grilled cheese, she puts Parmesan on the outside, so the whole thing is like crispy, and then she puts thinly sliced apple on the inside. Mind-blowing. So good. So good. Oh, you're sad, Carl. Don't be sad.
I'm so defeated right now. I am so defeated.
No! It's so
That's
funny
okay.
because you're like,
I'll get back. I'll get back on my feet. I'll get back on my feet. We need to do it again next week.
When you're in the Caribbean?
Oh yeah, I know. When I come back, yeah, I need to. That's right. I need a vacation. I need to get out of here.
Exactly.
You need
Taste
to
some
fire
international
me.
wines, and then you will, and then because that's the other thing I'm curious about. I have only tasted a handful of international wines, right? So I was always curious, like, am I going to be able to tell the international Canadian? And I do feel like there is a Canadian wine profile that I can pick up fairly easily, but I haven't tasted enough international wines to know, right? But I think that as far as different regions in Canada, we got to keep doing this because it is really hard to tell the different regions in Canada based on what I was saying, that warm and cool, it doesn't always apply here. You can get like rich reds in Niagara, you can get rich reds in the South Okanagan. Sometimes they surprise you. So it's really all about discovering each winery and each region and enjoying every step of the way. It's not something you can generalize too easily. All right, now get over it, Carl.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The complexity of the lunescence is pretty freaking cool, though.
Yeah. And you know what? Thank you for being vulnerable and real with us.
Yeah. I zeroed in on what, like, that's the biggest mistake that you can do, and I hope that you guys are all gonna learn of what I've done tonight. And I have to tell you, I zeroed in on what I thought I had in my cellar instead of just letting my pure taste and just like going with the flow. I zeroed in on stuff that I thought it was, and I just didn't let go.
A shortcut.
Yeah, no, if I like, what I should have done is just going in there with absolutely no preconceived idea. I tried to break it down. It's been an hour and I said, okay, if it's this, and I overthought it, and I zeroed in on two possibility, and I completely, like, yeah, I let my rational just absolutely take over just what my palate will tell me. Anyway.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, your palate was bang on. Yeah, go with gut, never the brain. That's a good point, Daryl. And Then we come back to my eternal point, which is that wines can be expressed through interpretive dance. They all have a shape that you can dance out. So, you've heard me say this before.
I
Like, for
sure
instance,
did.
the Love by Lou by Sue Ann Staff. This one is a like salsa dance, And then the lunescence, this is like something slinky and nice, like jazzy. So yeah,
I,
it's
yeah, to me, if I go with the dance thing, to me, like the lunescence is like zippy. It's like this. It's a laser, and the Love by Lou, it's a little bit of a.
sensual. I love it.
If we talk about that,
Yeah.
maybe a pole dance.
Hey,
Um,
for named after Sue Ann's grandma.
Shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, Wendy. I know Wendy's mom. Wendy's mom. Holy shit. Okay.
Oh,
Let's move
yeah,
on.
no,
Now, two great
no, no, no.
points, completely different. Like you completely went at the extreme opposite of the spectrum. And
They
yeah,
are
it's
totally
fun. I
different.
need
That's what's interesting.
I I need to redeem myself. So I'll need a redemption moment in the next month or so. So I'm gonna keep
So
practicing in secret here. And if you start seeing a bunch of bottles open, don't think that I'm hiding myself to drink. Maybe I'm
no, but you know
practicing
what?
in secret.
I'm glad I didn't like hide the glass and make you sip through a straw or something. Because I have seen like on YouTube people doing that to their husbands and seeing if they can guess the wine and stuff, and usually they can't. Um, so anyway, I think you did great, Carl, in terms of describing the wines, and I think it's been really interesting learning about where these two are
Yeah,
actually
and anyway, I think at the end of the day, that's what the Canadian Wine Challenge is all about. It's all about zero in on a different wine region and dig a little deeper and have fun with that. I clearly
from.
failed, but I'm looking at the day that we're going to do Riesling Canada versus the world, and so we can compare Rieslings from Canada, from different region of Canada versus Rieslings from different regions around the world. I can see Nova Scotia, Ontario, and BC, and having a Alsatian, a German, and a Aussie, a Margaret River, or like something fun like that. So that's part of my vision in the Canadian Wine Challenge, right? So there's going to be a zero on a region, learning more, but there's going to be also zeroed in on grapes and also the versus the world. So that is really cool. So jump on the bandwagon. Come with us, have fun to learn more about Canada, and tell your friends. Tell your friends that the Carl's Wine Club and the Canadian Wine Challenge, we want to create that movement that we're going to drink local and drink Canadian wine and understand more about our Canadian wine regions.
Totally. Totally. So interesting and so much fun. Looking forward to all that, says Mike. Thank you, the Average Wine Enthusiast on YouTube. Great show. And yes, Canadian wine lovers, hope you guys have a wonderful evening. We'll be back on tomorrow night talking about
We're back on tomorrow night with the shipping show. We're going to talk about shipping. So tomorrow is the shipping show, and Friday it's going to be the touring show, right? Oh, here's a spammer here.
Yep. Gone. Yes, so the wine touring show, because actually this time of year is a good time that a lot of people are starting to think about what do we want to do this summer, this spring, this fall. A lot of places that are amazing get booked up in the next month or two in terms of wine touring in Canada. And so we're here to give you some tips, ideas, dreaming kind of ideas of what you can do in terms of wine touring in Canada. And if you're a VIP Unlimited member, you can also take advantage of a free consult with us on what you're thinking of doing for your wine touring this year, and all our top tips, and even our concierge help to help you get booked into the right places, get you a complimentary tasting as well. So be sure to check that out. I'm going to put the link in the comments if you haven't yet. This is where you can find out more about the Canadian Wine Challenge membership levels. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys again, hopefully tomorrow night if you're stopping by.
Tomorrow, Friday, and Sunday. Sunday is the big show. Sunday is our top 10 wine of the year, including 5 honorable mention and also our top 3 value wine of the year. But we're going to talk about some amazing, the top wine of the year. So the selection is absolutely off the chart. So can't wait to share with you. And what's different this year than the previous couple years is that now we're going to have these wines available for sales. So from number 1 to number 10, there's going to be possibility to get your hands on a small amount of these wines because there's very little left out there. Some of them are not. And guess what? We also bought a barrel of wine that is going to be for sale on that next week.
Yeah, because, okay, I guess spoiler alert. Carl's top wine of the year was sold out. We did not check, and I think it's important not to check. You know, what's the best wine? Is it available for sale? Well, maybe then that should be the one. No, it was like Carl went into his inspiration den and came out and said, these are the top 10. And then we were like, oh, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. But anyway, we have a cool project where we bought a barrel of something that's coming up from our sold out top wine of the year.
So if you all know the process of buying Bordeaux future, so the wine is still in barrel, but we're going to have a barrel available for people who want to say that's the number one, my number 1 wine of the year, the new version sitting in barrel. And I'm going to taste live the sample from the barrel on Sunday night. So you guys, oh yeah, that's going to be awesome. And you'll purchase your desired quantities from in the barrel, and you're going to be shipped to you in probably 4 months time. So yeah, it's a super cool thing. I can't wait to talk more about it. And yeah, so that's what we're doing here. So what an awesome show. It was great. And I'm absolutely floored that I failed disgracefully on camera in front of our members. But you know what? That's fine. We'll get back on my feet.
Well, now we know it's not staged. Nothing we do is staged.
Fuck no, it's not. It's not staged.
Yeah, and you know what? It makes me feel less intimidated to give it a shot myself. So there you go. All right.
All right.
Have a great night.
Canadian Cars Wine Club members, see you tomorrow.